You get in your car, you turn the key, and instantly the engine roars to life. Adjust the radio, throw it in drive, and you're off. But what exactly happens at that pivotal moment when you turn the key and fire it up? Day in and day out, we rely on our vehicles to propel us through our fast-paced lives. But few of us actually understand what's going on under the hood that makes us drive us forward. Being a participant in 2 complete engine rebuilds and 4 transmission swaps, I know my way under the hood. I've learned through years of practical, hands-on experience what makes an automotive engine work. Today I'd like to discuss exactly how engines drive our daily lives so that you too may have a better understanding of what's going on underneath the hood next time you get in your car. We'll begin with a discussion about the major components of an engine, the 4-stroke mechanical process each engine goes through, and wrap up looking at some of the different variations we see in today's modern automobiles. Basic understanding of what makes an engine work is important if you wish to follow routine maintenance procedures, perform your own repair work, or even if you just wish to take your car into a mechanic. It's good to have a basic understanding of what work they're going to do and why it needs to be done. Ward's Automotive magazine discusses some critical components of each car engine. As seen here in this illustration, we have the piston, connecting rod, and crankshaft. Up above we have an intake and exhaust valve, a spark plug, and what's known as the combustion chamber. Now, Peter Hunt outlines the 4-stroke process that each car goes through in his book called the Small Engine Handbook. Basically, we have intake, compression, power, and exhaust. The first step, intake, is where this piston is moving down. The intake valve I talked about opens up and allows fuel and air to be drawn into the motor. As the intake valve closes, the crankshaft comes around and starts pushing the piston back up. This is where we get compression. In this stroke, the fuel and air is being compressed and packed tightly together. In the third stroke, power, the spark plug ignites the fuel and air mixture, and the resulting explosion drives the piston back down and continues to turn this crankshaft. This is where our horsepower comes from that drives your wheels so that the car moves forward. Finally, in the 4th stage, we have exhaust. The crankshaft comes around, the connecting rod drives the piston back up once again. This exhaust valve up here opens so that the burned exhaust gases can be driven out of the motor and eventually out the tailpipe. After that, the entire process repeats itself. So now that we have a basic understanding of how a simple engine like this operates, let's look at some more complex variations that are common in modern automobiles. There are several engine configurations that are standard, but the one that's growing most rapidly right now is this inline arrangement. As Mike Mueller discusses in his book American Horsepower, this engine is gaining a lot of popularity because small 4-cylinders are great for fuel efficiency. Although you sacrifice some horsepower, but Americans aren't so concerned about that as fuel prices begin to rise. Also, we see what's known as a flat or boxer arrangement. These are great motors, they're durable, they produce a lot of horsepower, but the only company that's really using them is Subaru's because frankly they're difficult to work on once they're underneath the hood of a car. It's hard to get wrenches and tools where you need to have them to work on them. Finally, we have the V arrangement pictured here. Now this arrangement is by far the most common arrangement in America. Very popular amongst Americans is the V6. Now we've all heard of V6s, V8s, but not too many people know what they actually are. Paul Dempsey's book, A Guide to Engine Rebuilding, discusses why V6s have become so popular with Americans, and it's due in large part to its great compromise between horsepower and fuel efficiency. You get most of the fuel efficiency of an inline 4-cylinder, but much more horsepower. And then we come to the larger V8s, which is just a V6 with 2 additional cylinders. V8s are great for tons of horsepower, large SUVs, trucks, towing, hauling, but you sacrifice a lot of fuel efficiency. Therefore, their popularity has started to trail off a little bit as fuel prices rise. So, with that, I hope you gained at least a little bit of an understanding of how an engine works, why it works, why routine maintenance procedures are important, because your engine needs oil, you need to take care of it for all these processes to happen properly. We've learned about the basic components, we've learned about the 4-stroke process, and we wrapped up with a discussion about most of the common engine designs you're likely to encounter in a modern automobile. So, with that, I'd hope that the next time you get in your car and turn the key, you stop for a moment and kind of marvel at everything that has to take place before you can put it in drive and speed away.